Hi everyone, this is Beth Secord and I am conducting my first ever interview for
Dr. Gary Bredesen.
our class.
Oh,
This is Dr. Gary Whittison, and he is here to tell you a little bit more about our unit on bogus remedies. So here he is. Hi, Dr. Bredesen.
hello.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I am a practicing dentist, have been so for approximately 36 years. Educational background, I have a bachelor's degree in microbiology with a minor in chemistry. I have recently obtained a master's degree in functional medicine and nutrition, and I have my DDS degree from the University of Pacific in San Francisco. Currently, I'm actually teach some and am the director over the dental faculty practice here. We have actually a practice that all you students are welcome to avail yourselves of. And I also am the supervising dentist of the dental hygiene program.
Oh, so does that mean that you have real dentists here at CSN on campus that can do dental work for students?
We do, and because there are students, we understand that they may not have insurance, etc. So we have a large break in the cost of fees and whatnot for students here to benefit them as well.
What kind of dental work do you do and not do?
We do
here at
all
school?
dentistry,
All
general
dentistry?
dentistry. We do implants, we do
Really?
crown and bridge, we do oral surgery, fillings, dentures, anything that a person would need done here. Root canals, we are in an entire scope of general dentistry here.
Oh, and even down to minor things like just cleaning.
Correct.
Oh, interesting.
Correct.
All right. Okay. So you're a dentist, but you have always had an interest in medicine and specifically functional medicine. Can you tell us what that
Correct.
is? What is functional medicine?
Functional medicine is an exciting new branch, if you want to call it that, of medicine, which has actually only been around since the early 1990s. And the difference between functional medicine and the medicine that we call allopathic, which is practiced by physicians in the United States, are allopathic physicians are trained to dispense drugs and do surgery. That is their treatment approach modalities. Functional medicine says, wait a minute, let's figure out, rather than giving people drugs, let's find out what caused their diabetes or what caused their hypertension or what caused the condition. Go back to the original source, treat the source, and then we don't have to put them on medications for the rest of their lives to treat their chronic conditions. So it's a whole different approach.
So what's an example of treating the source of one of those things you mentioned?
Okay, again, say a person has hypertension, high blood pressure. Okay, and now there's a certain genetic component sometimes with high blood pressure, but it's also part of what we call metabolic syndrome, which, these conditions includes things like obesity, our diet, the way we eat can cause high blood pressure. And again, what you would have functional medicine practitioner would do is go back and say, okay, if you're obese, let's address how you got that way. If you have a genetic component, what are some things we can do to modify genes? Because we have found out you can modify genes. We used to think that genes were immutable, that what you got from your parents is what you're stuck with. If my parents are obese, I'm going to be obese. But now the exciting field of epigenetics, which shows that you can influence the expression of your genes.
Wow.
You don't change the genes, the physical genes, but what you can downregulate or upregulate the expression of genes that will cause things like inflammation and obesity. And you can downregulate those genes by lifestyle modifications, which is again what functional medicine approach is. Whereas if you go to your MD, he's going to say, all right, your blood pressure is elevated. Here's your prescription for blood pressure medication. You're going to be on it the rest of your life. Out the door you go. And that's the difference. Going to why it's happened, treating the source, and then using minimal amounts of medication. Now, I'm not saying throw away all of the medicine, because if my appendix is ready to burst, I don't go to a functional medicine doctor. I go to the emergency room when I have surgery. So acute conditions are best treated by regular allopathic medicine that we all see our doctors for. Chronic conditions might be better treated in a lot of cases by functional medicine practitioners.
Is functional medicine different than doctors that have the DO or OD after their name? No.
The DO is Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. Now, in earlier times, there used to be a wide difference in scope and how they practice their approach to medicine. But now, if you go to a DO, a DO is equivalent to an MD, and they function the same. They practice the same type of medicine.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So the course I'm teaching is critical thinking, and so I would like you to put your expert opinion here on how a person should think clearly about pharmaceuticals or the drugs that are prescribed by the doctor and drugs that are developed by pharmaceutical companies.
Okay. That's a whole big topic that could take forever, but
okay.
I'll try to put it in a nutshell here. Let me give you an example. In the year 2009, 105,000 Americans died as a result of taking prescriptions from their physician exactly the way the prescription was prescribed. 105,000.
105,000.
Right, in America were attributed to that. People going to the doctor, getting a prescription, taking it like the doctor told them to, and it killed them.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical deaths as the fourth leading cause of death in America. Even more people die of that than die in car accidents every year. For an example, in the entire world, America is 5% of the world's population. Over 90% of prescriptions written for narcotics are written in America. Over 70% of all prescriptions written worldwide are written in America. So how does the rest of the world survive and do well without all of these prescriptions of the pharmaceuticals? So there's a different philosophy out there than what we've adopted here in America.
So can you compare a country that has a lower rate of pharmaceutical use that's thriving and has maybe a more longevity and lower?
Every country in the world, pretty much.
Really?
Yes, there's no other country that prescribes nearly as many medications as we do. And we rank 30th in longevity in the world. So all the drugs we're prescribing is certainly not making us healthier, because there's it's 43rd we rate in the world. There's 42 countries that have better outcomes, longer living longevity and healthier outcomes than we do in America. And they are not using pharmaceuticals because they use them minimally.
And that can't be attributed to other things like healthcare access or...
No, because we are the only country, actually, we're the only economically developed country in the world that does not provide health care to all our citizens.
Oh, I mean...
all these other countries provide health care free.
But I'm saying that might be why we're 43rd, because we don't provide health care.
Right. That's an issue. That's part of the issue. Now, the bigger issue probably is what we eat. That's the thing.
Right. The American diet.
The American, it was called, it's abbreviated SAD, Standard American Diet, and it is sad because we're exporting it around the world. Countries like China now have McDonald's and Burger King and all the fast food places are adopting it. And as they adopt it, their health is going down, their longevity is going down. They've done studies on, for example, Japanese people who have come to America, adopted our way of living, and their health in short time is as bad as ours and not what it is like on their original diet.
So what aspects, is kind of a little off topic, but interesting. So what aspects of the American diet are the most problematic?
Processed food.
Processed food.
Yes.
Okay.
60% or better of the food that we all eat is highly processed, which means it's basically chemicals produced in a laboratory and we eat it. Versus, again, you hear about the famed Mediterranean diet, which is the best diet in the world, the healthiest. They don't eat processed food. Everything is either caught in the sea, fresh, homegrown, whatnot, instead of bought in cans and containers and warmed in the microwave like our diet consists of.
So, how do you spot, so a bag of green beans in the frozen section isn't processed?
No.
How do you know what's processed and what's not?
Learn to read the labels. You know, as a general rule of thumb, if you go grocery shopping and want to eat healthy, stick to the walls. All of the good stuff is on the walls. All of the junk or the highly processed foods are in the middle.
Like what about like Cheerios and whole wheat bread?
Neither of them are very good.
Oh, they aren't?
They're not.
Okay. What if you made the bread at home?
Ingredients. The problem with bread,
Is the
we
flour,
get into details.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The glycemic index and glycemic load. I don't know if those are terms that.
Yeah, no, I do know.
Okay.
Yeah, but they don't. So.
If a piece of white bread in a sandwich or a white bun spikes your blood sugar more than a tablespoon of sugar does.
No way! Wow.
It does.
Yeah, my husband's diabetic, and he's trying to treat it with.
Okay, and so you can't eat those kinds of things. Whole grain, not whole wheat, but whole grain products are much better, and they don't spike your blood sugar as much because they're harder to digest and go through the system. But processed bread and everything, even if you buy the whole wheat version, is not healthy in the stores.
Oh man. Okay. So back to how a person should think clearly about pharmaceuticals.
Okay. That's a tough one because there are medications that definitely help.
Yeah.
But the rationale behind medications, especially in America by the pharmaceutical companies, are not to get you better. They're to maintain you in a chronic condition throughout the rest of your life. Very few medications are meant to cure a condition.
Can you tell me, talking to you before, you told me about the drug manufacturers of the hepatitis C cure.
Correct.
And the internal memo or email that was leaked or was found.
That's a typical case. We all saw on television, they came out with advertisements that said, if you have hepatitis C, go see your doctor because now we have a drug that will cure it. And it was amazing, and it works nearly 100%. So all these people with hepatitis C flocked to their physician, got treated and cured of hepatitis C, and now this drug company looked around and said all of a sudden the second and third year, the sales dropped off precipitously because they had cured all these people that had the condition they made their drug for.
Yeah.
And so an internal memo, they said, what do we need to do? Internal memo from the company went around and said, in the future, design your drugs to treat chronic conditions and not cure them, and you have a patient for life. That's kind of the pharmaceutical company's approach to
because if it's profit driven.
Correct.
Right.
You're better off if I can treat you for 30 years with this, you buy my drug for 30 years versus if you treat you for a month and you're cured, and then you don't buy my drug anymore.
Right. And then if the disease is wiped out in the population, no one has hepatitis C anymore, it's not going to be transmitted.
Right.
And there's going to be no one left to cure.
Correct.
Yeah, interesting.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a philosophy that's developed in what we call big pharma.
Okay, so this unit is mostly about bogus remedies and herbal remedies and home remedies and how to tell fake remedies like the Power Balance bracelet, drinking tequila for colds, standing on your head to I don't know, I'm just making that up. Really weird ones that don't work from legitimate herbal home traditional remedies that are efficacious. How do we think about that?
That's a tough issue. Part of the problem is now with you can find anything on the internet. We all know that. Unfortunately, a lot of us who are younger learning assume that if it's on the internet, then it has to be true. And so a lot of people are making a lot of money off bogus claims like that. And so what's one to do? Like you said, there are, from Ayurvedic medicine, which is in India, 4,000 or 5,000 years, they've used all these things to treat things with, and they've had good success. Same thing with the Chinese. These are herbal type remedies and whatnot, and they actually work. But as you mentioned, these new inventions and whatnot, how do you determine whether or not they're going to work or not? Because as we know, they don't, a lot of these things they come out with do not have to go through the FDA approval and presenting research to show that they actually work. And so common sense is a good guide. If someone says, hey, I did this and it works, investigate it. Don't take it at face value, at word value. Look for some scientific research that is not done by the people manufacturing the object.
Exactly, yes.
Because they're going to say, our research lab shows this, and the article that's saying how good it is, if it says this is by Dr. So-and-so who works for this company, take that with a grain of salt. Get it verified by independent researchers before you are sucked in by things like that. If it sounds too good to be true, in most cases it is. And so be aware. So the buyer beware of things like that.
Right.
So there's something to be said for mainstream, but again, our mainstream medical care is a little different in America than in other places in the world. So we don't automatically, because it is an herbal remedy, we don't automatically throw it out and say it's not efficacious. But by the same token, we need to make sure there's some research, in fact, and background behind things before we fall prey to them or use them ourselves and claim they're going to cure different things.
Can you give us an example of an underappreciated herbal home supplement, Ayurvedic cure that people, it's just underappreciated? It should be used more.
Turmeric
Okay,
is a good example. It's one that's getting more and more press. Turmeric has actually more research done on it than almost any other supplement in the world. It's been used again in the Ayurvedic world and everything for thousands of years. It's a slight blood thinner, which is good. A lot. It prevents clotting. It reduces inflammation, improves cardiovascular health.
Helps with anxiety and depression.
Correct. It also kills cancer cells.
Wow.
And there's a lot of research on this, and it is the best all-around supplement that everyone should be using.
I read an article about turmeric 15 years ago, and it was a cross-cultural study, and it was this one group of people who drank turmeric tea had an extraordinary number of how do you say 100 Arians? Decadarians?
Centenarians? People
Decacentenarians that live over 100, yeah. Correct. So I went out to Whole Foods and I looked everywhere for turmeric tea. Nowhere to be found, nowhere. But within the last 3 or 4 years, it's everywhere.
It is, because the research is out there and people realize it's not a bogus thing that does not work. You have to be careful with turmeric is because it's hard. It doesn't absorb easily. So there are certain forms that are better.
Oh, really? Like what?
Liposomal.
Oh, my friend was telling me about liposomal medicine.
Liposomal delivery of things like that are head and shoulders above taking pills. And so I personally take a liposomal supplement of turmeric, and you should. The Alzheimer's rate, for example, in India is 1/10. You know how poor the people and everything are over there?
Yeah.
Their Alzheimer's rate is 1/10 of what ours is, and they have curcumin or turmeric in every meal nearly.
Oh,
so it's one of those almost miracle things that has research behind it, and everyone should consider taking.
Awesome. Do you have any closing words of advice for the students in critical thinking about?
Okay, just that. Think critically before you take something or before people tell you that something is good. Do your research. For example, people will give you this product or this protein bar to eat this, it's healthy. Sugar has over 200 names. And when you read labels, if you're not informed, they'll be on there, but it won't say sugar that you're taking. And sugar is the cause of more chronic disease than anything else out there. So think critically about something. Does this sound too good to be true? Could this possibly be true? And then once you've thought that out, say, let me find a logical way to research it and find out if this really works.
Before you spend
Correct.
a bunch of money
or take something that could be harmful.
Dangerous.
Correct.
Before we close, can you think of a dangerous supplement or something you might buy you take too much of, or you take it if you have a certain condition?
You have to be careful about, people assume that because it's not a prescription that it is safe. And this is not so. For example, niacin, which is one of the B vitamins, B3, if you take too much of that, you can cause some really liver damage, and it will make you flush and turn. Need to be careful of is niacin.
Oh, interesting.
Vitamin B3.
It's B3?
B3.
Okay, yeah.
It's B3.
Get it off, but thank you so much.